Free means different things to different people. Free is the laughter we share together. Free are the tears of joy on that special day. Free is the ability to express yourself. Free is the air dancing around your fingers. Free feels good, and so does saving. At First Ontario Credit Union, our members always get free checking, free ATM use, free debit, free deposits, free e-statements, and new members get a free gift. Visit freeisgood.ca and get money doing better for you at First Ontario Credit Union.
Welcome back to the Green Valley Sports Complex here in Moline, Illinois, the 2016 ISC World Tournament, and this is the nightcap here. Kris Abbott along with Blair Setford as we're getting set for the A1 Bombers from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan against the visiting Scarborough Force from Scarborough, Ontario. I'll give you the lineup for the Scarborough Force. Jerome Remeke is leading off, and he takes a drop ball on the outside from the starting pitcher for the A1 Bombers, Devin McCullough. Andy Skelton is batting second. Bruno Matroni is batting third. Jorge Lima is the cleanup man for Scarborough. Donnie Hale is at first base. Eric Ochoa is in right field. Eric Urbanea is the designated player. Rob McGiffin is at third, and Justin Krulicki is in center field. Juan Podolicio on the mound tonight for the Scarborough Force. And Blair Setford, this would probably be the two biggest heavyweight teams that we've seen so far this week meeting up.
Well, this is the number 4 and the number 5 ranked teams in the ISC final rankings, the Bombers and Scarborough Force. And you're right, this is one of the heavyweights. These are amongst the 5 teams that everybody thinks are the top contenders here this week at 2016 ISC World Tournament. Force have been on a roll. They had a rough start to the season in early mid-June, but they've really been on a roll since then, picking up a couple of big tournament wins. But they ran into the Bombers last week at the U.S. National Championship, the ASAs in Kimberley, and it was the Bombers who came out on top of that one.
Remeke swings through. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes from Andy Skelton. Or pardon me, Andy Skelton. He's on deck. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes from Devin McCullough. Two teams with similar color schemes to their uniforms, so it's the A1 Bombers in the field, Scarborough Force at the plate. Just before 8 o'clock local time here in Moline, Illinois, and we're underway in the top of the first. A rise ball up out of the zone. And Blair, that's a pitch McCullough is going to try and get guys to strike out on.
Well, Devin's bread and butter is the rise ball. He'll throw the low rise, try and start it below the knees and have it pop up into the strike zone as it gets to the plate, and then he'll throw the big roundhouse rise ball at the letters and try to get guys to chase.
Full count pitch, check swing, and he's going to be rung up by tonight's home plate umpire, Steve Gallagher.
Steve Gallagher indeed behind the plate. Over at first base, it's Kevin Wallace and Charlie Johnson down at third base. I thought he would go to Charlie Johnson for that call, but punched him out himself.
Yeah, from our vantage point, it was borderline, but Steve Gallagher saw it and made the call. 1 down for the Scarborough Force here in the top of the first inning. Andy Skelton steps in, and Skelton was listed as a pitcher on this team, Blair, but things changed just before the tournament started.
Well, Donnie Scott suddenly became available, the veteran Don Scott, and Scarborough pounced on the opportunity to add him to their roster. That will, with the 3-pitcher limit, that takes Andy Skelton out of play.
So he's been playing left field. That's a big swing and a miss from Skelton. And speaking of left field, for the A1 Bombers tonight in left field is Mingo Varela. Chris Walushka is in center. Scott Nehigh in right. Derek Kennedy making his debut here in the tournament at third base. Gil Sands is at short. Tyler Dudley at second. Mike Hoadley, who had been playing some third base, moves over to first. And Freddie Carmona, who is batting .667 among tournament leaders, is behind the plate for the man they call Devo. 2-1 pitch, high out of the zone, and McCullough's fallen behind. 3-1 to Andy Skelton.
Look for Devin McCullough to also feature that back-breaking changeup that he's got, one of the best in the world. You just don't want to hang one, especially to Andy Skelton.
Paints the outside corner, and 2 straight batters going to full counts here, Devin McCullough, and with the humidity making it feel like 97 degrees here, he's going to want to avoid these full counts.
Well, it's been a long, hot day.
Skelton rips it to right field, but right at Scott, knee-high, 2 down.
It's been a long, hot day here at the Green Valley Sports Complex. The heat beating down here on the Milt Hand Field. When you go outside from our air-conditioned, cushy press box where we've been situated most of the week, Chris, you get outside, you realize how warm it really is.
Bruno Matroni, the catcher, batting third here for the Scarborough Force. Matroni, one of many Argentinians here, and he's looking to get on track, Blair. Just 167 batting average through his first 2 games.
Bruno's helped carry this team throughout the season. Big bat, middle of the lineup. They're going to need him to produce if they're going to get by the Bombers and deep into the tournament on Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Foul ball, strike 1. McCullough ahead in the count. 2 down here in the top of the first inning. McCullough bounces one, about a 30-foot drop ball.
That was a 3-hopper. That's usually what you get on the ground balls, but not often you get a 3-hop pitch before it gets to the plate.
Well, you got to wonder, of course, many of the players using the product of one of our fine sponsors, Gorilla Gold, but with the humidity so high, that might make it a little tough to grip the ball out on the mound.
Well, you'll see Devin McCullough go to it right there. You see him go to that Gorilla Gold rag. You get a good look at it as he turns his back to our camera and walks to the back of the 8-foot circle. Gorilla Gold, of course, essentially a tack rag, and it's a grip enhancer. And when you're facing guys who throw 80 miles an hour plus, you want them to have a good grip on it.
That's a drop ball fouled away by Matroni, another 2-2 count. And I believe our intrepid Joe Todd has his radar gun around the park tonight, so we'll see if Joe is able to get some reads off 2 of the best throwers in the game.
Well, Joe had the gun out earlier tonight against Adam, or out there with Adam Falkert, and he had Adam around 78, which is really a little bit low for what I would expect for Adam, but I wonder if the heat is taking its toll on these guys here this week.
These 2 teams should be fresh. They each played games on Saturday, had Sunday off, played on Monday, each of them, and had yesterday off. No more days off here in the tournament. Your final day off will be the day you travel home. Sharp ground ball, and that's inside the line. Matroni is headed for second. Nobody covering the 2-bag. It's into the corner. Matroni's going to try and make it a triple, and he's in on what could have been a stand-up. The ball is just now coming in from the outfield.
A little bit of a speed wobble coming around second, and he hit third base hard. He's still down, and they are frantically waving for the trainer, and this would be a monumental blow if something goes wrong with Bruno Matroni.
Training staff comes to check out Blair. In the last 24 hours, we've seen Ben Anoka go in hard to that third base bag, actually kick it about 12 feet. Then just last game, Mark Johnson coming around third, injured himself.
Well, Bruno, he certainly had an awkward slide going in. It was like he decided at the absolute last second that he was going to slide it, and it was almost a bit of a barrel roll, and I think he did hit the bag hard. He's pretty dusty down the left side, but it looks like he's going to stay in after a bit of consultation with the trainer. He's going to look at the elbow and dust himself off. And then second base has also come loose as well.
Well, it's possible that he was slowing up and decided to put on the Jets at second. Maybe the injury could have happened there, but
well,
you're right.
He definitely had a speed wobble coming around second base and took a bit of a misstep. I almost thought he was going to go down, but as you said, the ball was rattling around out in the left field corner as Andy Skelton had some, or not Andy Skelton, Mingo Varela had some problems getting to that.
It's going to bring up Venezuelan Jorge Lima. He's batting .500 in the tournament, 3 for 6, and all 3 hits have been home runs, and he's tied for the tournament lead.
Jorge Lima on the Venezuelan national team, and one of those guys who just seems to get that key hit when you need it.
Pops straight up in the air. Carmona's looking for it in the dust sky, and he makes the catch. So Lima will pop out with Matroni stranded at third base. 4 batters to the plate for the Scarborough Force in the first inning, but unable to push across a run.
Whatever your delivery requirements are across North America, Skelton Truck Lines provides you with reliable, safe, and high-quality service at a fair price. Skelton Truck Lines equipment is satellite tracked and delivers small parcel, less than truckload, and expedited shipments throughout Canada and the U.S. With over 50 years of experience and more than 50 trucks serving 4 divisions, Skelton Truck Lines is a thriving Ontario business and a proud Fastball sponsor. Visit us online at skeltontruck.com. Thanks to Mike Skelton for supporting the broadcast program.
Back here for the bottom half of the first inning for the A1 Bombers. Will run through their batting order. Leading off is the center fielder Chris Walushka. Derek Kennedy will get his first plate appearance of the tournament at third base. Freddie Carmona is the catcher. Marshall Cronk, the designated player. Tyler Dudley, the second baseman, is fifth. Scott Nehigh is in right. Mike Hoadley at first. Mingo Varela in left field. Gil Sands at short. Devin McCullough, who has hit for himself in this event, will not be hitting tonight. Around the field for the Scarborough Force, Andy Skelton is in left field. Justin Krulicki in center. Eric Ochoa in right. Rob McGiffin is at third base. Jerome Ramaki at short, and Jorge Lima at second. The veteran Donnie Hale at first base, and Juan Podolicio will be throwing to Bruno Matroni. For Podolicio so far, he's won both games for the Scarborough Force. 9 1/3 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 23 strikeouts, and a minuscule .75 earned run average. Podolicio is in with a strike on the leadoff batter, Chris Walushka. That was a curve drop to start on the outside corner, and if that's what's going to happen tonight for the A1 Bombers, they are going to be fighting the ball.
Juan will throw the big curve drop and the curve rise. That's basically his specialty to the right-handed batters in particular, and then he'll try to bend that pitch in, wrap it around the plate for a backdoor strike on the lefties, but he's really tough on righties.
There you see it again, that ball just curving away from Walushka. 1-2 is the count, bottom of the first, and Walushka is the leadoff batter for A1.
Yeah, that vantage point that you've got right there from our home plate camera, that is the perfect spot to watch the benders that Juan Podolicio is going to be throwing tonight.
Blair, we've had a couple of people check in on the stream wondering about Mark Johnson and his injury. We've not received an update from the Hill United Chiefs. If we do, we'll certainly pass that along.
We can tell you that Mark Johnson did not go out defensively for the Chiefs in the final half of that 5-inning game. So we will check with the Chiefs, but expect nothing more than a lower body injury.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Walushka goes down. First strikeout from Podolicio, and that will bring the third baseman Derek Kennedy to the plate. The native of San Antonio, Texas, making his tournament debut.
Derek Kennedy, of course, last year was featured in that video called The Catch, and aptly so, was got to the collapsible portable fence, leaned back, jumped over it, almost high jump style, and just made an absolutely game-saving catch for the A1 Bombers.
Takes strike 1 from Podolicio, the curve drop outside. Rise ball, Kennedy holds up. 1-1 with 1 out in the bottom of the first. No score here from Green Valley Sports Complex. The nightcap, and our first nightcap to get off at the scheduled time this week, Blair.
It is indeed a very rare occurrence that we are on time this late in the day, and there is a reason why for that, and we'll discuss that as we talk about some of the goings on here in the day, Chris. Of course, we had a 14-inning game on this diamond, a 4-hour affair between the Toronto Batmen and the Kitchener Cubs. The Batmen eventually, finally, prevailing in that one 5-4, but we ended up having to take an entire game off of this diamond and move it to an adjacent one. in order to stay on schedule.
1-2 rise ball way out of the zone from Podolicio. And talking about that game, Max Montero started for the Kitchener Cubs, proceeded to throw 12 1/3 in the blazing midday heat here in Moline.
Well, it had to be with the Humidex registering as well over 100 degrees out there in the heat of the day. That game, as down on strikes goes Kennedy, that game started at 11 a.m. and 3 hours and 56 minutes later it concluded, and it did not get any cooler during the time that those boys were out there. It just kept getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And Max Montero, 12 1/3, as you said, what was a 13-inning game. I said 14 earlier. And Scott Wagger got the last 2 outs in that one as Montero physically was just done.
Tough luck loser. Kyle Linton started that game for the Batmen. Jones came in the middle.
Kind of pitched the middle 5 or 6, I think, in that one. I think Linton ended up with probably 8 out of the 13.
And he was dog-tired. Hats off to both teams for battling through that one. The Kitchener Cubs, though, their tournament's over, and the Toronto Batmen will move on. And they're on the losers bracket side. They'll play J&B Painting in a game tomorrow afternoon, Thursday at noon here on Diamond 5. And Blair, not scheduled for us to broadcast, but what we've decided to do is leave up the ambient sound and the stream for the remaining games here on Diamond 5 that aren't on our ISC network broadcast schedule.
Yeah, so join us starting at 10 a.m. tomorrow. We will have the game audio only. There won't be commentary, but we'll have the game audio only up starting at 10 a.m. As you just said, BCAs and Fargo Kegel Black Knights, followed at a noon scheduled start, JB Painting, Toronto Batmen, and then at 2 p.m. The Kingston Axemen will take on the loser of this one.
Ball is lifted high to center field. Krulicki is under it, and down go the A1 Bombers in order as Freddie Carmona flies out to center. So after one complete inning, as we expected, the pitchers are dominating so far.
Why do you play? For 100 years since 1912, Worth has been helping top athletes answer that question. Whether it's for strikeouts or home runs, the Worth K-Master 120 is the best ball in men's fast-pitch softball, and there's nothing soft about it or you. Worth is proud to be the official ball supplier to the ISC. Visit worthsports.com for more information on Worth products, including the K-Master.
So a pitcher's duel indeed, Podolicio and McCullough, and just about what to be expected, Chris. I will say this, the lights here are 100 times better than what they've been in the past. They spent about $750,000 to upgrade the lighting system here at Miltan Field, and indeed all of the parks here at the Green Valley Sports Complex. And it is so much brighter than what we're used to, these LED lights. And the only drawback, of course, is that if you blow a fuse, some of them might go out, but as happened the other night. But when they're on, and you can see it there on your stream, it is much better than there used to be, almost a black hole right at the plate here on the main diamond at the Green Valley Sports Complex. And great on them for doing it. They said it was the World Tournament coming here. That was the impetus for them spending the money. This will be on our diamond, the last of the old-fashioned wire fence backstops, soon to be taken out and replaced by a mesh-style backstop. They've done that on all of the other 7 diamonds here at the complex, and they all look great. I'm really impressed with a lot of the improvements that they've made here in Green Valley and Moline.
It's great, and then tomorrow we have the ISC Under 21 tournament and the Legends tournament starting here, so there'll be even more diamonds in play. In the top of the second inning, Scarborough Forest leading off is the number 5 batter, the first baseman, Donnie Hale. He takes the first pitch low in the dirt from Devin McCullough.
Donnie Hale from New Zealand, spends most of his time now in Japan. I got to see Donnie, we had a quick conversation the other night, and Donnie's lost some pounds, but I don't think he's lost any of the power. And this is one of those guys, you don't want to be in the bathroom when he comes up to the plate.
He's 1 for 4 so far in the tournament, but like a lot of guys, you can expect him to get more clutch when the competition ramps up, and there he does. He drills one inside the line down the left field. Varela again has to run all the way into the corner to retrieve the ball, and that's 2 of the last 3 batters to rip one just inside the third base bag off Devin McCullough.
Well, if I'm playing third base tonight, Derek Kennedy, I'm going to start playing a little bit further back from the bag. Donnie Hale absolutely ripped the cover off that one down the left side and just had an easy jog out to second base for what is a stand-up double.
That brings up Eric Ochoa. Nobody out in the top of the second inning. Ochoa just 1 for 3 in the tournament so far. A late add to the Scarborough roster. He wasn't on the initial rosters this year.
Well, squaring the bunt early.
Decides to swing, and he lifts it high and deep to center field, but didn't have enough depth. Walushka throws a strike into third base to keep Hale from tagging.
That was a major league fly balls. I think he hit the bottom of it, not the back of it. Had he done that, it might have been headed for that brown barn out there, the maintenance barn out there beyond the center field fence, but certainly got a lot of loft under that one.
You mean the Josh Johnson target practice barn?
Josh Johnson, indeed, Josh Johnson, one of the very few who's reached the barn here over the years.
Eric Urbanea steps in, a designated player. He's got a home run and 3 RBIs here in the early goings of the 2016 World Tournament.
Well, like a lot of guys who do pitch, Eric Urbanea goes both ways with the stick as well as with the arm, and he is enough of a hitter that they want him in the lineup.
Swing and a miss at a rise ball on the 1-0. He's even at 1-1.
Some old-fashioned fast pitch, Eric Urbanea doing it both ways, offense and defense. You don't see too many hitting pitchers anymore. Andrew Kirkpatrick, of course, can do it for the Gremlins, as can Roman Godoy, for that matter, for the Gremlins.
Change up, as you alluded to earlier, and a wild swing. Coming up with nothing is Urbanea, 1-2 against Devin McCullough, who can handle the bat himself.
Devin McCullough can hit. Sean Cleary can handle the bat as well. He won't get to hit here this week with the Toronto Gators, but can swing a good stick back in the St. John's League.
He won't chase this rise ball. 2-2 count. Donnie Hale, the runner at second base. He led off the inning with a double inside the bag down the third base line. Kind of dusk here right now. I'm sure the outfielders will be happy once it turns pitch black in the next half hour or so. Swing and a miss from Urbanea. He chases the rise ball up, and McCullough has his second strikeout of the night.
Well, that's what Devin has got to do. He's got to get that pitch elevated. Can't leave that out in the zone. And I think he kind of hung a couple to Bruno Matroni and to Donnie Hale.
Rob McGiffin, the third baseman, will step in, the number 8 batter for the Scarborough Force. So after the leadoff double by Donnie Hale, the next 2 batters have been retired. And McGiffin steps in, just 1 for 2 with a walk. He sat out one of the early round games for the Force. Well, McCullough grooves that one, and McGiffin may not see a better pitch.
The Force batting order, indeed the Force roster, a true United Nations of fastball, and really emblematic of how international our game has gotten. Much like the lineup for Circle Tap in the previous game, you've got several different countries represented here in the Force lineup. New Zealand is there, Canada, Argentina, Venezuela. Donnie Hale really resides full-time in Japan now. And Rob McGiffin, Canadian by birth, but resides in LA. So you've got a lot of different countries and continents and time zones covered, all in this Scarborough Force team.
1-1 count to McGiffin. The last pitch in the dirt. Hale didn't want to risk it, never want to be the third out at third base. Inside, fouled off towards the Scarborough dugout. McGiffin now down 1-2. McCullough trying to work around the leadoff double, get his team back in on the sticks. We've got a note coming in on the stream, Blair, that says the best pitching hitter that's not hitting is Adam Folkert. I've never seen Adam with a bat in his hands.
I've seen Adam pick up the stick a couple of times in league play in the Golden Horseshoe League back in Ontario, as Adam has played some in Niagara Falls and elsewhere in the Golden Horseshoe circuit. And I've seen him hit a few out of the park, but I don't know at what caliber the pitching was. Not to dismiss Adam, but I haven't seen him hit against the top pitching, and I'm sure he will never be picking up a stick in the Hill United lineup.
Swing and a miss, strike 3 on the rise. Ball, quick tag to complete the out. Down goes Rob McGiffin. So after a lead-off double to Donnie Hale, a fly out to center field and back-to-back strikeouts will get Devin McCullough and the A1 Bombers back to the dugout.
Sometimes people worry about asking for help because there can be a stigma around mental health problems.
Trust your teammates.
Trust your teammates.
Trust your teammates.
They might believe that asking for help means admitting that something's wrong.
Trust your teammates. Trust your teammates.
Some people worry about how others might see them.
Trust your teammates.
Trust your teammates.
Asking for help means that you want to make changes and take the first steps towards better mental health.
Trust your teammates.
Trust your teammates.
We should celebrate the courage it takes to speak up and make changes.
Trust your teammates. Trust your teammates.
Getting help is part of recovery.
Trust your teammates.
Trust your teammates.
Mental health isn't something you need to keep to yourself. Talk to a friend. Trust your teammates. You're not alone.
Trust your teammates.
Trust your teammates.
The first steps may be the toughest, but knowing where to look for help is a good start. Community mental health organizations like the Canadian Mental Health Association or Mental Health America offer resources and programs that can help you. Visit cmha.ca or mentalhealthamerica.net to find a branch in your community.
And remember,
Trust your teammates.
Trust your teammates.
So Marshall Cronk will lead things off for the A1 Bombers in the bottom of the second. They're still looking for their first base runner. Walushka, Kennedy, and Carmona retired in order by Juan Podolicio in the bottom half of the first inning. Cronk comes into this game batting .400 with a couple of RBIs.
And here's another pitcher who hits. Marshall Cronk can toe the rubber and can strike out guys at the top level, but primarily known more for his hitting, been the first team designated player or second team designated player all world here at the ISC World Tournament the last couple of years.
Another great crowd on hand here tonight at Green Valley. The grandstands have been full and also down each of the baselines, Blair, for the evening games so far here through the ISC World Tournament.
Yeah, the fans are definitely coming out when they get home from work, and even over the course, I would say, for the late afternoon games as well, they do start to fill up. We've got lots of people, as you said, certainly down the right field line, and there's lots of action going on around the park here. A couple of ISC2 games on the way as well. In the ISC2 winners bracket final, Shakespeare Falcons now out in front 6-1, partly on the strength of a grand slam by Stefan Walma. That's over top of Ostrander Fastpitch. So Shakespeare looking to make their bid for an elusive ISC2 title. They've been chasing one of those for several years.
3-1 is the count to Marshall Cronk. That last pitch was the rise curve in a hitter's count, but Cronk, cerebral in his attack, didn't take a swing. He's going to watch strike two as we've got an errant foul ball. You see it there bounding across the infield. Donnie Hale will go grab it. We haven't had a whole lot of that on this diamond. However, a lot of balls from this diamond have found their way onto diamond 6 and diamond 8.
Yeah, they do fly out of here pretty good, and I think that's a testament to the fact that on those diamonds they do have those new mesh screens that extend far into the wings and all the way to the dugout. You don't quite get that same effect here as Kronk down on strikes from Podolicio.
The fourth strikeout for Juan Podolicio, who is in fine form here this evening against this A1 Bombers lineup. They'll bring up the second baseman Tyler Dudley, who's 1 for 7 from Battle Creek, Michigan. The second person I've heard of from Battle Creek, Michigan. Blair, you'll appreciate this. You're a wrestling fan. Rob Van Dam is the other.
Well, I'm not quite the wrestling aficionado that you are, Chris, but I have indeed heard of Rob Van Dam. Tyler, who had a blazing hot ASA tournament a couple of weeks ago, including a couple of big home runs as A1 Bombers knocked off Hill United, ultimately falling to the New York Gremlins in the championship game. But Tyler really came in on a hot streak, but cooling down just a little bit. They'll want to get his bat back going, and he's got real good speed too. If he gets something in the gap, he can easily have a stand-up triple.
Fouled off the first pitch, swings through the second, and Dudley is in an 0-2 hole against Juan Podolicio. The Scarborough Force and the A1 Bombers here in the final winners bracket quarter-final. Winners bracket semis go tomorrow night. Of course, we'll have that all here on the ISC network. Good morning, good afternoon, good night for Tyler Dudley.
And Tyler's going to have to make some adjustments there. Chased up, chased out, and chased down. That's not a good at bat there from Tyler. I'm sure he's going to have to look at what his approach is the next time we're out and trying to pick a zone and try and stick with it.
That'll bring in the right fielder, Scott Nehigh. He's batting .286. This is Nehigh's first year at the World Tournament, the only World Tournament rookie on the A1 Bombers roster.
Well, Scott, apparently a former modified player and one of those guys that has been playing kind of in those modified ranks, and they've got him out here playing some fast pitch, and he's done pretty well. He hit the ball well the other night when we had the Bombers on one of the telecasts earlier in the week, and I thought, there's something to this kid. He's a big guy from the left side. You don't often get a lot of American players batting from the left side. And another stick to this Bombers lineup is certainly something that they will gladly take.
Podolicio kind of stumbled on that last landing, had a little smile with the catcher Matroni, jumped back in there. Foul ball from Nehigh, 1-1 is the count.
Well, the landing zone out there for the pitchers has been a little treacherous here this week. These guys land so hard and they put so much impact into their landing. They've been basically getting all the way down to the clay underneath the surface topsoil, and they're actually starting to dig into the clay, and it creates ridges in the landing zone, and you've got to be really careful that you land in that same spot, because if you hit the ridge you can easily turn an ankle.
Fouled straight back, and that rattles the backstop. 1-2 is the count, and Blair, I shouldn't say this, I'm going to knock on wood, but you've been the man up mounting that camera every morning, and she's holding pretty steady with the attack from the foul balls.
Well, we had one in the Kingston game that actually jarred loose one of the cables that helped this camera power our broadcast.
1-2, Nehigh check swing. They will not look down to third base, so it's 2-2 with 2 down in the bottom of the second inning.
Well, that's that curveball we talked about a little bit earlier to the lefties. Juan tries to bring that in back door. Just missed there.
Fouled high and out of play. That one's going to make its way over toward field number 8, where there is still some action going, a game in the second inning over there.
Yeah, that game features the Aurora, Dolan, and Murphy Shamrocks and the Chetty's Pretty Boys. Chetty's prevailed.
Just came off the field.
Well, they won 1-0 in a 13-inning game. That's why they just came off the field. Dustin Cashane, their pitcher, hit a home run in the 13th to walk off that game, and then they had to immediately move their bags over to the adjacent diamond to take on Aurora, Dolan, and Murphy. That's in the ISC2 losers bracket. Also going on in the Deuce losers bracket, the Wyerton Nationals, the defending ISC2 champions, playing CPI from Oswego, New York right now. And as I lean out the window, I can tell you that game is scoreless in the third.
2-2 again. Knee-high staying alive as he fouls off the drop ball.
Dolan and Murphy leading 2-0 over Chetty boys, that one in the second inning.
And Daniel D. Dolan and family were honored at the ISC Hall of Fame breakfast here Sunday morning, and Mr. Dolan still spry and gave a few laughs to the room at the Hall of Fame breakfast.
Yeah, it was great to see the Daniel D. Dolan Murphy family, or from Dolan and Murphy, honored. Been sponsoring that team for over 30 years. And, of course, the great fastball tradition in Aurora.
And I was going to say right here in Illinois, as that's ball 3 to knee-high, but the induction actually took place across the border in Iowa, here in the Quad Cities, made up of cities in both Iowa and Illinois.
Straddling the Mississippi here, we drive back over the Mississippi into Iowa every night, back to the hotel.
Ball 4 on a good-looking pitch. Podolicio is saying, where was that? There goes his perfect game as Scott Knee-high draws a 2-out walk.
The only thing I could think of is that ball was marginally low because it split the uprights in terms of location. It just must have been a bit low for our home plate umpire.
Mike Hoadley, the first baseman, steps in. He's 3 for 6 with a double and an RBI, batting out of the 7th hole for the A1 Bombers.
Mike, another one of those modified players who was formerly on that Swashbucklers team, but is out of the Boston area in Massachusetts, and really has done a great job bringing his game up into the upper echelon of fast pitch.
Holden, Mass is the official hometown for Mike Hoadley. And hello to anyone who's watching in Holden, Mass tonight. Mike's down 0-2. With 2 down, the runner on first is Scott Knee-high, who drew a 2-out walk from Juan Podolicio of the Scarborough Force here in the bottom of the second. That's well outside, trying to get Hoadley to chase.
Well, I think he was trying to catch the outside front corner. Mike Hoadley not chasing, as you said, but trying to bend that one just to catch the front corner, too, of the plate. But too much break on that ball.
It's also good to see Bruno Matroni back in there behind the plate, and here he is catching strike 3 as Mike Hoadley will swing through the rise ball. So after a 2-out walk, Podolicio will complete the strikeout of the side and will move to the 3rd inning.
Peligro Sports provides the essentials needed to give your team an edge on the field. Our brand is rooted in creating a unique experience tailored to the specific needs of your team to ensure your performance is at the best level to execute plays. At Peligro Sports, we rally behind our athletes and understand their fight to take their game to a dangerous level. Visit our store at 2200 Amsterdam Avenue in New York City or see us online at peligrosportsnyc.com. Thanks to Jose and Peligro Sports for their support of the broadcast program.
Top of the 3rd, leading off for the Scarborough Force is number 9 hitter, the center fielder, Justin Krulicki.
Justin got married earlier this summer, and fortunate for him that his new bride is willing to let him come and play softball here at the ISC World Tournament.
Thanks to all the wives and girlfriends who allow the boys to travel. A lot of them here. Great play on the bunt, but it's thrown. Great backup as well. As the bunt was thrown away by Derek Kennedy, Tyler Dudley was in perfect position. Call that an E5. Justin Krulicki is on first.
You're going with the E5. I don't know that they were going to get him even with a good throw, to be honest. I'm flipping a coin on that.
Okay,
well, you're harsh.
I played third base, and I'm nice to the third baseman, but that was a hard bunt, and the throw was well off target.
We're going to ask our official scorekeeper to the right whether he went with a hit or an error. He's got E5, so I guess you got it right, Kris.
Blair Setford is outvoted.
See, I was a third baseman, too, and I wasn't going to give an error on that
one. Sticking with the union, I get it. Jerome Ramacki is back up. He struck out to lead off the game. Fouls off the first pitch from Devin McCullough here with one on in the top of the 3rd. We got Richie Connor says, great to be able to watch this all the way from Nova Scotia, Canada. I had to get that in because, hey, I live in Halifax, Richie.
Well, our good friend Richie, who was involved with the Halifax Pepper Jacks. I think Richie might still be with them, I'm not sure, but certainly a name familiar to fastball fans in the Halifax area. Another bunt.
Another bunt, and how about Carmona jumping up, foul ball or not? Like a cat springing up out of the litter box to grab that foul ball, but they'll do it all over again, 1 and 2.
Well, Freddie Carmona is likely going to be the catcher of choice for Team USA. We had Warren Jones up here in the previous game for an interview. Freddie on the team for Saskatoon, and I believe he was on the squad also for the Toronto Pan Am games, but he will definitely be a guy that's going to be behind the plate for Team USA going forward.
1 and 2 pitch, nobody out, runner on second. Check swing on the rise ball, 2 and 2. Remeke was 2 for 4 coming into this game with 3 walks and 2 stolen bases, so now he's 2 for 5, still batting .400. It's a high drop with a little taken off of it.
Remeke, I think, is likely to be a future captain of the New Zealand Black Sox. I mean, he is still just in his early 20s and was one of the most impactful players for the Black Sox in Saskatoon. He's got a long career ahead of him with the storied Black Sox, and I think going to be in a leadership position as well.
Runner was going high for ball 4, so the Scarborough Force have the first 2 hitters on here in the 3rd inning. And the dangerous Andy Skelton, who's been slumping a little bit, and if you've watched Andy Skelton's career, this would be the exact time he jerks one over the outfield fence.
Andy Skelton on Saturday night, as I walked into the park, was depositing a ball over the scoreboard in center right field into the parking lot. Remeke, unfortunately, was called out for leadoffs on the play. They sent Andy back to the plate. 2 pitches later, he hit another home run.
He takes a ball low, and McCullough feeling like he's getting squeezed a bit here in the 3rd inning.
Well, the error in the walk, and A1 Bombers have built themselves a bit of trouble here.
Nasty changeup for a strike on Skelton.
Boy, that had a hump coming in on it. That is just filthy.
He could have said, hey, I'm throwing the changeup now. Skelton's still not hitting on it. 1 and 1 is the count. Swing and a miss, no foul tip. The ball got to the screen on the wild pitch.
Well, that was one of those deadly inside rise curves, and McCullough got really underneath that one and up and in on Andy Skelton and just couldn't hold back the swing. Never got a piece of it on the way by.
1 and 2 is the count. Runners on second and third with nobody out.
We'll need some scoreboard help over here as our man is fighting with the scoreboard. We feel your pain for you. Trust me.
2 and 2 the count to Andy Skelton. He flew out to the right fielder Scott Knee-High to record the second out in the 1st inning. Fouls that one off, another one of those inside curving rise balls, and the Skelton likes to swing at him apparently.
Well, he really chased those 2 up and in pitches, and he was lucky to get a piece of that one this time.
Skelton usually pretty disciplined. I guess they look meaty coming in and then all of a sudden jerk right toward you.
You see the bright lights appear back on your scoreboard as we get the rescue, and we're back in business.
2 and 2 is the count. Nobody down. A leadoff reach on an error, then a walk and a pass ball is how Scarborough's runners have gotten where they are now. A full count to the left fielder, Andy Skelton.
Got to be very careful here if you're Devin McCullough. You don't want to give in to Andy Skelton. You do have a base open to you.
Yeah, you only got Bruno Matroni and Jorge Lima, followed by Donnie Hale coming up next.
Well, this is a murderer's row, and Scarborough Force have done a great job assembling a terrific team here for sponsor Mike Skelton.
And, you know, that's how Scarborough have won a lot of their games. Now, they've got a great pitching staff, but this year, Blair, as that's a foul tip to keep the at-bat alive. But this year, they have put up a load of runs.
Yeah, they laid a beating on our Toronto Gators team in the championship game of the St. Clements tournament earlier this year. They won the Tavistock tournament in similar fashion, beating the New York Gremlins over the course of that particular weekend. It is a murderer's row with the Scarborough Force.
Full count to Andy Skelton. Krulicki on third, Remeke on second, trying to tip some pitch location. And that's located right over the outside corner from McCullough. And Skelton goes down looking.
That is an absolutely great pitch from Devin McCullough. We talked about him not giving in to Andy Skelton. And just a burner on the outside corner. Nothing Andy could do with that but just watch it sail by.
Matroni hit a triple back in the first inning. Came up a little lame but stayed in the game. Looks like he's just fine. Thankfully for all the Fastpitch fans here this weekend. And he lifts this one to right. It's going to get past knee high. He's got to chase it into the corner. That's going to score two. And Matroni is into second with a double.
Big players come up at clutch times, and Bruno Matroni, nobody has done it more, particularly for his Argentina national team, and now doing it here for the Scarborough Force.
So now with one out and Bruno Matroni on second base, Jorge Lima, who popped up sky high to Freddie Carmona back in the first, comes up with an RBI opportunity.
But the damage here self-inflicted by the Bombers, the error and then the walk. You just can't afford to give away those extra outs, particularly at this level of ball.
McCullough lays the changeup in for strike one on Lima. Lima's 3 for 7 in the event. Mentioned it back in the first. All his hits have been home runs. And he wants that one back. It was a curveball. And he's in a hole now, 0-2. McCullough gone back to get a bit of rosin because I believe, Blair, that pitch was a mistake and he got a little bit late. Inside drop, swing and a miss. The ball bounces away from Carmona, allowing the runner on second, Matroni, to get to third, but retire Jorge Lima on the strikeout. So with 2 out, Donnie Hale, who's 1 for 1 with a double, will step in for the Scarborough Force with a big run on third base.
Well, I'm not sure McCullough and Carmona are on exactly the same page. It was almost like that pitch took Freddie Carmona by surprise. He really almost had to make like a goalie save just to keep that in front of him.
Yeah, off his shin pads about halfway back out to the pitcher's circle. And Carmona actually did a real good job to keep the batter Lima from reaching. And now here's another one away from him, and sliding in safe, or barrel rolling in safe, was Bruno Matroni, who double drove in two and then scampered in on a pass ball.
Well, Bruno is not going to win any awards for sliding here this week. Those are two of the most awkward looking slides I've seen from anybody at the World Tournament, but very effective. And again, that pitch getting away from Carmona, I'm not sure if that's what he was expecting from Devin McCullough.
Yeah, you make a great point, Blair. The last few pitches dating back to the at-bat with Lima. That changeup is inside off the plate, 2-2 to the big man Donnie Hale, who won a World Tournament way back, won a World Tournament way back with the Farm Tavern in 07.
Donnie Hale, the Triple Crown winner at the ISC World Tournament in 2012 in Midland with the Jarvis Travelers. That was the last of their 3 straight World Championships. Won the batting title, won the RBI title, and had the most home runs. Only been done, I think Gary Boffman told me, 3 times in what was then the 67-year history of the ISC. Of course, nobody has done it since either. So Donnie Hale, truly one of those special players, and I think he'll be a guy that one day we'll be having an induction ceremony into the ISC Hall of Fame when he decides to hang them up for good.
A bunch of New Zealanders going in this year. Of course, we had Thomas Makia, the living legend, who's still playing with the Toronto Gators. And we also had Jared Martin, and he did his induction from New Zealand via Skype. And of course, Chub Tangaroa going in as well. So New Zealand, to nobody's surprise, well rewarded again at the Hall of Fame this year.
Well, Chub Tangaroa, one of those people who are among the trailblazers for the Kiwis.
Hale goes down on strikes, and that'll do it for the Scarborough Force here in the top of the third, but they connect with 3 runs, a 2 RBI double from Bruno Matroni, who then himself moved to third and eventually home on balls to the screen. So after 2.5, the Scarborough Force lead 3-0.
Murphy's Fish and Chips is not only a great place to get some of the best seafood in Canada, but is also one of the best fastball sponsors in the game. Voted Nova Scotia's best fish and chips by Eastlink TV, Murphy's is a family institution since 1996 and a proud fastball sponsor of many Canadian and ISC championship teams. Open 7 days a week. Come join us for our famous English-style fish and chips or any of our daily specials. Murphy's is located at 88 Esplanade in Truro, Nova Scotia. We thank Dave T. Anderson and Murphy's Fish and Chips for their commitment to fastball and the broadcast program.
All right, Blair Setford, so we're back for the bottom of the third inning. The A1 Bombers with the 8-9-1. Batters Mingo Varela, the left fielder, Gil Sands, the shortstop, then back to the top for the center fielder, Chris Malushka.
Well, 2 jobs here on opposite sides of the fence. Juan Podolicio got to keep the doors shut for Scarborough now with that 3-0 lead. A1 Bombers got to get somebody on base, and then you got a couple of hits together and try and get back at least 1 or 2 of these runs in the next inning or so. You don't want to be having to chase 3 against Juan late into the game.
Only base runner so far for the A1 Bombers was a debated walk by Scott Nehigh, who says he has a good eye, and Podolicio says the umpire missed it. But they came back and struck out Mike Hoadley to end any chance of a threat for the Bombers back in the second.
Want to keep an eye on the Scarborough bullpen too. Their pattern for most of the year has been 3, maybe 4 innings for the starter, and then they could go to the pen, and they've been splitting games all year long. But I'll tell you something right now, Juan Podolicio looks as strong as I've seen him since about 2013, the last time the ISC World Tournament was here.
No activity down in the Scarborough pen, which would be down the right side. You'd be able to see if there was anyone down there. We've got a photographer and a first base coach, and that is it. And down goes Mingo Varela with a strikeout. The 6th of the night for Juan Podolicio. So to your point, Blair, mowing through this A1 Bombers lineup.
Well, Juan has suffered some difficulties over the last couple of years, and whether it's been physical or otherwise, I don't know. But certainly he looks on point here tonight. And it's been, maybe he just likes this facility, but he is throwing BBs out there right now.
And that foul ball lands right in the trash can. That's why you saw Podolicio pretend to hit a jump shot as they go and retrieve the ball. So not only is he dialed in tonight, a couple of times when things have happened, we've seen him react pretty funny. Now he doesn't want the ball that came out of the trash.
Juan has actually got a very good personality. Great guy to talk to off the field. Very funny. Per se, still doesn't want anything to do with that ball.
Holding it a foot away from his hip. Now he laments the fact that he's going to have to stick with it. I guess there might be some sticky substances out of that trash can.
Yeah, I don't know what's been in there, but
maybe you got a good grip on there now. 0-1. That pitch was in a shoebox, and that's what Matroni is saying right now. The fake bunt threw off home plate umpire Steve Gallagher from Coburg, Ontario, and it's 1-1 to Sands.
Yeah, it looked like a pretty good pitch, and maybe Gallagher just missed one there, because that certainly broke right through the heart of the plate, we thought.
Now Sands is not a imposing figure out there, but he has imposed his will on this one over the scoreboard, and Sands missed first base a la Mark McGuire. Goes back and touches it, and now will complete the home run trot.
Well, you just said that Sens doesn't look like an imposing figure in the 9 spot, and he's not known for home runs. He's more of a gap-to-gap guy with speed, but he absolutely sunk everything into that one, right over the scoreboard in right center, and a big booming shot for A1 Bombers gets them back within 2 in this one.
That one goes out over the scoreboard in right center, and that scoreboard is beyond the 300-foot fence. So a huge home run for Gil Sands. That ball comes back in. Now Juan definitely wants nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I was going to say Juan's going to tell him to put that one away because got it out of the garbage can and into the night.
So back to the top of the order, Chris Walushka with 1 out and 1 in as the A1 Bombers, courtesy of the bomb by Gil Sands, are right back into this one.
Well, that's why they call them the Bombers, because they got some guys who can hit some bombs.
Gil Sands now batting .500, albeit a low sample size early in the tournament, as that's foul back, rattling our camera, which, again, Blair, to your testament, now we got a little bit more of the fence in the left side of the shot, but still pretty good.
Well, it's been hanging in there pretty good. If we get through that, we will we'll be happy. And I still don't see any activity down in the Scarborough bullpen, but I wonder if the Brain Trust over there, and there's about 8 of them, if they're going to be thinking maybe we will just go the 3 or 4 with Juan.
Rung up is Walushka, his second strikeout of the night. So after giving up the home run, back to normal for Juan Podolicio with his 7th K, bringing up Derek Kennedy. 3-1 with 2 down in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Derek Kennedy 0 for 1. Scarborough with 3 runs in the top half of the 3rd. A1 have answered back with 1 so far.
Well, anytime you get a home run from your 9 batter, you're happy. In this particular spot, you're elated because it draws you a little bit closer. And again, you wanted to get one of those runs back right away. And the way Juan Podolicio has been throwing, that was certainly a most unlikely source.
Gil Sands definitely not used to the home run trot as he missed first base, had to go back and tag it. 1-1 count with 2 down to Derek Kennedy. He'll take it low for ball 2. And now I'm seeing some shuffling around in the Scarborough bullpen. Or check me the Scarborough bench. Conversations going on. It's one thing about Fastpitch. It usually doesn't take most of the managers a long time to get somebody up if things aren't going 100% perfectly.
I would expect next to be the lefty, Eric Urbanea, the designated player.
Donnie Scott, the other pitcher on the roster, has yet to throw for Scarborough.
Well, Urbanea is also up second in the batting order for Scarborough when they come to the plate, so that might be why they might be waiting for his at bat before they send him down to throw.
2-2, 2 out. Kennedy follows that ball up high out of the strike zone with his eyes and not the bat. And we've got a full count here. Podolicio to Derek Kennedy, the 3rd baseman, the number 2 man in the batting order for the A1 Bombers. Freddie Carmona is on deck, came into this game batting .667. Fouled off, will do it again.
The camera's still hanging in there. You can see the fence wobbling a little bit in front of it as that foul ball off the bat of Kennedy rattles things around.
Full count, 2 down. Inside and a little bit high, Kennedy works the walk, and that'll give Freddie Carmona a chance with a runner on base.
Leadoff walks, 2-out walks can be the bane of any pitcher, and I'm sure that's not what Juan wanted to do. As after the home run, he came right back with a strikeout, but Freddie Carmona gave a ball a ride up to center field in his first trip, and This isn't the guy that you want to see when you are got a couple of guys on base and you're only in front by 2.
Freddie Carmona. Another guy from San Antonio. High and outside for a ball. He's got 6 RBI already in the tournament. Mark Johnson leads the tournament with 11. However, he left his last game with an injury, so we'll wait and see if Mark Johnson is able to play tomorrow night for the Hill United Chiefs against the winner of this game. That game, I believe, Blair, as I double check, yes, is the nightcap here tomorrow night, the winner of this game against the Hill United Chiefs. And then 6 p.m. local time here, it'll be 7 o'clock Eastern, the New York Gremlins and your Toronto Gators. That is a good one. As Terrell Owens once said, you better get your popcorn ready.
Well, the Chiefs come in as the top-ranked team. The Gators were 2, the Gremlins were 3, and these 2 teams, the Bombers 4, Scarborough 5. I'm pretty interested to see if it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, or is it 1, 2, 3, 5. There are some very good teams that are still playing in the winner's bracket right now.
Of course, a loss doesn't take you out. You drop down to the loser's side for a second chance, or seeing the Olympics are on, maybe we'll call it the repechage. As Freddie Carmona fouls off the 2-1.
Foul ball's creeping a little closer to our camera there, too.
Two and 2 is the count. Two to Freddie Carmona. Derek Kennedy worked a walk from a full count earlier. Carmona's going to lift this, but Donnie Hale shows his ups and pulls down the line drive at first base, ending the threat for the A1 Bombers in the bottom of the 3rd. So they do get 1 back after 3 complete. The score is Scarborough Force 3, A1 Bombers 1.
If a man runs for president, interviews for a high-level job, or needs a good table at a smart restaurant, chances are he'll be wearing a suit. Mr. Ned is your custom tailor in New York City. Located at 137 5th Avenue, we provide our clients with the highest quality custom suits at affordable pricing. Our range of fabrics is second to none and will fit the needs of any well-dressed professional. Whether it be everyday business attire or a special occasion, we have the ability to make you a man of distinction. Visit the store at 137 5th Avenue in New York or see us online at mrnednyc.com. We thank Mr. Ned and Var Matosian for generously supporting the broadcast program.
Leading off the top of the 4th inning for the Scarborough Force, it's Eric Ochoa, the right fielder. Eric Urbanea, the designated player, is on deck. Rob McGiffin is scheduled to bat 3rd. And there is activity in the Scarborough bullpen, and by process of elimination, it must be Don Scott.
Well, I'm not convinced that's Eric Urbanea on deck, to be honest. I can't get him to turn around to see his number. And I don't know if we can see a number down the side. Is it a lefty or a righty throwing?
I can't see all of them.
I am blocked out from that one as well. I don't know if we can
it's
tell
a righty, yeah.
It's a righty, so that would be Donnie Scott then. So you are right with the process of elimination.
1-1 is the count to the leadoff hitter Ochoa. He flew out to center field in his first at bat. Swing and a miss, a drop ball on the outside corner. 1-2. That one is flared to the 3rd baseman, Derek Kennedy, and he makes the grab. 1 away.
Kris, while we got a chance, want to give a shout out and a happy birthday to Scarborough Force 3rd base coach Scott Searle. Scott taking on some duties with Scarborough this year. Longtime coach of the Ottawa GGs in the OIWFA. And we want to thank Aaron Durant for reminding us of Scott's birthday this week.
First pitch to Eric Urbanea is a drop ball for a strike as Devin McCullough gets ahead. Scarborough with a 3-1 lead now in the top of the fourth inning. They scored all their runs in the third. A 2-run double from Bruno Matroni, who later scored on a pass ball. Right now, Urbanea is behind in the count, 0-2.
Kris, either I'm having some flashbacks or the legends are all getting here. I'm seeing more and more guys from years past as wandering around the park here, but it is indeed the legends coming up along with the under-21 starting tomorrow as Urbanea looks at that offering from McCullough, and at times he's really been able to burn that edge.
Yeah, and that's been the difference in this game. When he hasn't had that pitch working for him, he got in trouble, a couple of hard hit balls. But as we saw just then, 0-2, Eric Urbanea is rung up on a pitch on the paint. Rob McGiffin struck out in the second inning. We'll get another look at McCullough here with 2 down. Changeup for a ball. They'll check the swing at first base, although I'm not even sure the bat came off the shoulder of Rob McGiffin.
Yeah, you're allowed to flinch. That's okay.
That's a great pitch, drop ball on the outer half of the plate, 1-1. That's a drop ball inside that McGiffin doesn't hit. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now it seems McCullough and Carmona right back on the same page.
Well, right back on the same page, and they've gone a lot to the drop ball this inning. Maybe they'll go upstairs now to McGiffin that they've got him thinking down, because that's not the pitch that he's known for.
Change up and frozen.
Well, he froze everybody in the booth with that one. My goodness, that pitch had a hump coming in on it, and that's a backbreaker.
There is no hitting that one. 3 up, 3 down with 2 strikeouts, looking for the Scarborough Force in the top of the fourth. Just what the doctor ordered for the A1 Bombers, and now they will come back to the plate.
Think about the greatest tournaments and championships played in fastball. Remember the players who have been at the highest pinnacle of our game, like Adam Folkard and Andrew Kirkpatrick. Gorilla Gold was there helping them win. What has been a closely guarded secret by the most prominent players is now available for you. We're ready to give you a hand to play at your best in all conditions. Visit us online at GorillaGold.com to order your Gorilla Gold products today.
Marshall Cronk leads things off in the bottom of the fourth inning for the A1 Bombers. They still trail 3-1. Cronk was a strikeout victim back in the second inning.
Marshall with a new baby at home back in Australia was the exception to the out-of-region requirement that you play with your team in June and July. He's just come up to North America for the ISC World Tournament. And a very, very dangerous stick here in the middle of the lineup.
Podolicio back out for his fourth inning of work. Donnie Scott continues to warm alone in the Scarborough bullpen. So Scott looks to be the man in the hole tonight and not Eric Urbanea. Cronk misses the rise ball.
And I do wonder if that it's because there are a number of prominent righties in the lineup for the Bombers.
Well, we saw very early on, Blair, Podolicio really working the outside of the plate to the righties, and you may be right. Don Scott may fit the bill there. The game was paused as foul ball came in from the other field. 1-1 the count to Marshall Cronk, leading off for the A1 Bombers. 4, 5, 6 batters due up here in the inning. They'll leave that up for a ball. So Toronto Gators and New York Gremlins both with the day off today, although the Gremlins, we should give them credit. They brought their whole team to the Special Olympics game today, Blair, as Marshall Cronk will take a walk.
The Gremlins have been perennial supporters of the Special Olympics game, and it is just tremendous to see the Gremlins and many of the other supporters from a handful of teams, I do have to say, that did support the Special Olympics game. The Northeast Drillers had a large contingent out there as well. And kudos to those guys for doing that, as we got a meeting on the mound here for the Scarborough Force.
Juan Podolicio walked the first batter he faced in this inning. It's been increasingly downhill for Podolicio ever since he took the ball out of the garbage can, really. And they're going to have a chat here as Donnie Scott looks down from the bullpen, where he will remain right now. But Juan Podolicio has been given his warning. His leash has now been shortened. And of course, I mean that without anyone saying as much.
Well, one hopper into the bench here out in front of us. And hope that wasn't a Toronto Gator, just took one in the ear.
Strike one from Podolicio on Tyler Dudley, who he struck out back in the second inning. Leadoff walk to Marshall Cronk.
And hope whoever did get it in the ear is okay.
Vagrant balls, and there's a vagrant ball. Tyler Dudley gone deep into the Moline night. 3-3. And that will do it for Juan Podolicio here in the winner's bracket quarterfinal. We talked about Tyler Dudley being 1 for 7 coming into the game. He was 1 for 8 in that at bat. That's all forgotten as he loses one on Juan Podolicio.
Well, we talked about Tyler having to make some adjustments and to look for a pitch in a certain zone, because he chased up, out, and down in his previous at-bat, and obviously went up there with something in mind, got a pitch in the zone he was looking for, and gave it a ride out to center left.
So a familiar face does a familiar walk in from the right field bullpen. Donnie Scott takes over on the mound for the Scarborough Force. And his familiar 0-0, and the score is back to 0-0 as it's 3-3 with nobody out in the bottom of the fourth inning.
First Nations Payment Systems strives to deliver innovative and secure solutions that benefit merchants everywhere. We can help you decrease your costs and increase your revenues. With more than 1 million merchant locations using the First Nations Payment Systems platform worldwide, you can't go wrong by making the switch. When you partner with First Nations Payments, your clients will benefit from our world-class payment experts, support staff, and cutting-edge technologies. To learn more about how First Nations Payments can help your organization, contact us through our website at firstnationspayments.ca. We thank First Nations Payments for their generous sponsorship of the broadcast program.
So Donnie Scott has got his warm-up pitches in, and Scott Nehigh, the right fielder, who is 0 for 0 with a walk, will be the first A1 bomber to face Don Scott. Scott with his trademark heavy drop ball looked pretty good, and it was called a ball.
Donnie will throw the roundhouse rise, and that drop ball, it's like trying to hit a shot put when he's on.
Strike is called, and Eric Urbanea has taken the spot of Donnie Scott down in that Scarborough Force bullpen. 1-1 the count to Scott Nehigh. Nobody out in the bottom of the fourth. Tyler Dudley's 2-run home run to deep left center, and now Nehigh will flare this into left. It's going to get down. Nehigh's around second, and he will stop there as Andy Skelton gets the ball back into the infield.
Well, it's good base running by Scott Nehigh. You're already in scoring position at second base, nobody out in the inning. Why risk making the first out at third, one of those cardinal sins?
And so Donnie Scott comes in, promptly gives up a double to Scott Nehigh, still nobody out here in the bottom of the fourth inning as the Scarborough Force are getting a forceful resistance from the A1 Bombers. Mike Hoadley steps in, struck out his first time around. He's going to chop this up the middle over the head of Donnie Scott. Remicky on to first for the out, and that'll keep Knee-High at second.
That's the first ground ball out of the game, and that's one out into the fourth, as we've had strikeouts and lineouts and fly balls, but the first ground ball out of the game.
Mingo Varela stepping in for the A1 Bombers. He's batting .250 in the World Tournament. He struck out his last time around. Gil Sands, the power-hitting Gil Sands, is on deck. Drop ball inside part of the plate for a strike. Don Scott is getting his first work on the mound here. And speaking of the mound, there comes a ball from diamond number 8. Donnie Hale will send it across the way to McGiffin, who will return it. One strike to count on Varela. Another drop ball. This is fouled to the left side. And Scott is ahead 0-2. And what I was saying, Blair, is that this is the first time Donnie Scott's gotten to pitch here this week in this intense humidity and heat, even though it is now 9:13 local time.
It's a lot to contend with. Donnie was going to be on the roster of the Houston Ray Rays squad.
Chopper to third base, McGiffin. On to first, Donnie Hale shows the ball to the umpire, and there's 2 down.
And Donnie has done some pitching in Texas over the years, so he's no stranger to pitching in the heat. When you go down to play in those Texas tournaments, better bring a change of clothes.
So Donnie's got his family here with him. They were out conversing and convalescing with some of the Hall of Famers that were here early in the week that have since departed. Number 9 batter, Gil Sands.
Well, I thought one of the most touching moments of the entire Hall of Fame ceremony was when Thomas Makia's induction speech was finished. He was taken by surprise, as was just about everybody in the hall, as all of the Kiwi players in the hall had gone to the back of the room and they did a haka in honor of Thomas Makia, and it was really something to see.
Yeah, it's hard to understand how a bunch of big guys, who many of them are well over 6 feet tall and 200 pounds, snuck to the back of the room without anybody noticing. And anyone who was there at the Hall of Fame breakfast surely got a treat, as Makia was honored by his teammates and some of the players he's mentored along the way. 2-strike count to Gil Sands, as Don Scott's in trying to clean up the mess that was created in the early part of the inning. Sands will swing through the outside rise ball after 4 complete. We've got ourselves a ball game. We'll head to the 5th inning. The Scarborough Force and the A1 Bombers locked at 3.
The law firm of Fireman Steinmetz Dea built its reputation on getting fair compensation for victims of serious personal injury or catastrophic claims. With a combined 90 years of experience and a fierce dedication to achieving results, Fireman lawyers have recovered millions of dollars every year for our clients. Whether you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident, a slip and fall, or as a result of any other act of negligence, when we represent you, we're committed to getting the results you deserve. With the lawyers at Fireman Steinmetz Dea, you are not alone. Contact us through firemanlawyers.com for a free consultation. No legal fees are billed until you receive your settlement. We thank Jack Fireman for his generous sponsorship of the broadcast program.
Top of the 5th inning, the Scarborough Force coming to the plate. They've seen their 3-run lead evaporate. It'll be the 9-1-2 batters, Justin Krulicki, Jerome Romaki, and Andy Skelton. Chopper to short, nice play on the short hop, and Gil Sands has gotten rid of that strikeout he just had. Nice play on the first for the first out.
Always nice to go back onto defense and contribute when you've just had a strikeout to end an inning, and Gil Sens gets to do just that. Kris, aside from the winners bracket play that we've got going on here, we had some losers bracket action earlier in the day. Kegel Black Knights took out Paligo Gremlins 2-0. They will move on and they'll play the BCAs tomorrow afternoon, or tomorrow morning actually. That one at 10 a.m. start. Toronto Batmen, 13 innings, 4 hours. They finally prevailed over the Kitchener Cubs 5-4. In another long game, even though it was only 7 innings, it took well over 2 hours to play. Kingston Axemen 8-7 over the Bloomington Sticks in a bit of an upset. And the Northeast Drillers eliminated the Elmira Expos 5-2. The Drillers will move on to play Circle Tap. That'll be at 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon.
2 strikes the count on Jerome Remeke. Check swing on the rise ball from Devin McCullough, who, aside from those 3 runs, that short little burst, McCullough's had a pretty good night. There is some activity in the A1 Bombers bullpen. Jorge Segura. A single up the middle from Remeke with 1 down here in the top of the 5th inning.
Kris, the other tournament going on, of course, is the ISC 2 tournament, and Shakespeare Falcons will be in the championship game of the ISC 2 tournament. They took out Ostrander Fastpitch 11-1. Shakespeare on a roll today. They got a no-hitter from Fred Fallings earlier this morning, and then they just got a 1-hitter from Greg Hamill. So they win 2 games, only give up 1 hit in doing it.
That's a good recipe for winning.
Yeah, that'll take you a long way. Shakespeare Falcons in the championship game for ISC 2. Ostrander will drop down, and they'll play in the losers bracket final. Wyerton and CPI. In that game, it's 3-2 right now, and Dolan and Murphy on the verge of eliminating the Chetty's Pretty Boys in advancing in the ISC 2 losers bracket.
Tough day for Chetty's, as you talked about. They went almost 2 full games, then they crossed ways to another diamond and had to play again. So, yeah, it's going to run out on you sooner or later. Runner goes. Remeke is in there with a stolen base, his 3rd of the tournament. And Andy Skelton stands in the box with a 2-1 count and a runner on second.
Andy was a strikeout victim looking back in the 3rd. But they've been willing to put runners in motion, and Scarborough's been very aggressive, I think, with not only at the plate but on the bases as well. They've got some guys who can move out there.
2-1 is the count. Another drop ball outside. McCullough's been very careful with Andy Skelton here, but like we talked about last time through the order, he eventually struck out Skelton, but after that, Matroni had the big 2-run double to get us to where we are. A 3-3 tie. Skelton gets an inside pitch that he turns on off the screen in front of the Scarborough Force dugout.
Well, Matt Allen, the first base coach for Scarborough, has got to be careful he doesn't get plunked by the ricochet off the fence out there. At about 6'5", 6'6" almost, Matt's a pretty tall target out there. Not very wide. In fact, when he turned sideways, I almost lost sight of him. But he is pretty tall out there.
Chirps from the broadcast booth with Blair Setford for the Guelph native, Matt Allen.
Matt Allen, of course, heavily involved in the OIWFA, as is Scott Searle, and does a great job with that particular group. And the broadcast team, minus Kris, but plus Kyle Smith, will be doing the OIWFA event later this fall.
Skelton walks, and McCullough shows his frustration. And now we're going to have a visit from Bob Piddick.
I wonder if that's it for Devin McCullough, as he's been up and down tonight. And I think Jorge Segura looks like he's been throwing with some intent down there.
Segura still throwing in the bullpen. They've kind of split the load up to this point. Coming into the night, McCullough had pitched 6 innings, Segura had pitched 5. And he's going to pitch a little bit more. With 1 out and 2 on, Bruno Matroni enters a familiar situation that ended with a 2 RBI double last time he was facing.
It's a delicate balancing act that you've got to perform here as a coach, because you've got your ace, Devin McCullough, who is already a prawn, and Jorge Segura isn't. He's one of those very valuable non-prawn pitchers, but if he gets...
Matroni puts that through the 5-6 hole. There's going to be a stop sign thrown up for Remeke, and now the bases are loaded for the cleanup hitter, Jorge Lima.
Well, very wisely, I think Scott Searle threw up the stop sign, and early, but wisely, I think, to Remeke, as he made a turn, but a good strong throw was coming in from Mingo Varela out there in left, who finally got a ball he could handle that he didn't have to chase over to the corner.
And that is going to be it for Devin McCullough, and Jorge Segura comes into, well, the most difficult situation in Fastpitch. Bases loaded. At least he's got 1 out to work with. And when we come back, the Scarborough Force are going to look to retake the lead.
Whatever your delivery requirements are across North America, Skelton Truck Lines provides you with reliable, safe, and high-quality service at a fair price. Skelton Truck Lines equipment is satellite tracked and delivers small parcel, less than truckload, and expedited shipments throughout Canada and the U.S. With over 50 years of experience and more than 50 trucks serving 4 divisions, Skelton Truck Lines is a thriving Ontario business and a proud Fastball sponsor. Visit us online at skeltontruck.com. Thanks to Mike Skelton for supporting the broadcast program.
Free means different things to different people. Free is the laughter we share together. Free are the tears of joy on that special day. Free is the ability to express yourself. Free is the air dancing around your fingers. Free feels good, and so does saving. At First Ontario Credit Union, our members always get free checking, free ATM use, free debit, free deposits, free e-statements, and new members get a free gift. Visit freeisgood.ca and get money doing better for you at First Ontario Credit Union.
Whatever your delivery requirements are across North America, Skelton Truck...
Didn't mean to cut off the Skelton Truck Line ad, but it wasn't supposed to play in the first place. I'm multitasking over here, Blair.
You're doing a lot, and we really appreciate all you're doing for us here. Kris Abbott taking on a couple of unexpected roles in addition to play-by-play here this week, and keeping us on the air here at the ISC Network, and we really appreciate all the work that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and as my first time out with the ISC Network, I'm having a ball. And of course, Blair, we're rooming together, so 24/7 with each other, but it's been okay.
Yeah, we're still talking to each other, which is good, so I'm not sure if I'm still talking to Lance or not.
Bases loaded for Jorge Lima. No time for joking now for Jorge Segura as he comes in and has to call time right away. He put his foot back and realized, hey, I don't have a hole back here yet, so he's got to dig it out a little bit more.
Yeah, kind of wobbled a little bit on that board. Segura, just, I don't know if they've played on this diamond when he was pitching, but certainly looked like it was the first time on it for him right there.
So the bases are loaded with 1 down, the top of the 5th inning. Scarborough Force threatening. First pitch low and inside from Segura to Lima, who is 0 for 2 with a pop out to the catcher and a strikeout.
Segura's from Guatemala. He's actually a lawyer back home in Guatemala. Throws on their national team. He's got a great drop ball and can really keep batters off balance.
That is chopped foul, and some good hands over there by Scott Searle at third base.
Well, it's your birthday. You got to be able to perform.
Coming into tonight's game, Segura's thrown 5 innings, given up 2 hits, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts, and was credited with one of the wins, the 9-0 win over Chetty's Pretty Boys on opening day. Segura's going to take his own time, step back onto the mound. Another one inside. This is going to go high off the screen, and the runner stays at third base in Remeke. Going to want to try and do it with the bat here.
Yeah, that's a tough one for Remeke because there's not a lot of room behind the backstop. You do need it to ricochet somewhere, and when it ricochets down third, it makes it really tough for you to go as a runner in that spot.
9:30 in the evening here in Moline, Illinois. The 2016 ISC World Tournament, and we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. The 4th and 5th ranked team in the world are playing right now, and the 4th ranked team are threatening to break this game open. Currently tied at 3 in the top of the 5th inning. The cleanup hitter Jorge Lima has a 2-1 count with the bases loaded. That one also in the dirt. Carmona knocks it down. Now 3 balls, 1 strike, and Segura has not been able to find the zone since entering the game.
Well, no room for Jorge Lima out there on the bases. Got to find the strike zone right here, right now.
3-1, 1 out. The bases are full of men in black. Lima chops this to third. Force out at the plate for 1. Carmona's going to hold the ball now back to third, and they got him! Double play as Skelton was caught rounding the bag, and the A1 Bombers on the 5-2-5 double play get out of the jam.
I got to think that's a pre-planned play by the Bombers, and Andy Skelton commits the cardinal sin of getting picked off at third base.
Wow, how's that for action? They get out of it, and the A1 Bombers will take to the sticks when we come back.
For all your team uniform and equipment needs, fastball, slow pitch, and hockey, for players and teams, make sure you visit Corbett's Source for Sports on the South Service Road in Oakville, Ontario. There's a lot of deals to be had on all kinds of equipment. Thank you to Paul Hurd and Corbett's Source for Sports for their generous sponsorship of the broadcast program.
Bottom of the 5th inning, and the A1 Bombers riding high after the huge 5-2-5 double play. Derek Kennedy went home to Carmona. Carmona faked the throw to first base, saw Skelton rounding the bag, and threw an absolute strike back to Kennedy. One of the best defensive plays you're going to see here under a pressure situation. And it's back to the top of the lineup for the A1 Bombers. In the bottom of the 5th, game still tied at 3. Chris Walushka 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts, and he's going to face Donnie Scott, who's come on in relief of Juan Podolicio back in the bottom of the 4th. And Walushka is going to open up the inning with a single out to center field, and Momentum is wearing white shirts and black pants right now.
Well, you're absolutely right. Mr. Momentum is a bit of a fickle customer, and he jumps horses quite often. He's gone from the Scarborough team, the men in black, all the way over to the guys with the white shirts, because that defensive gem right there, 5-2, and then back 2-5 for the second and third outs of the inning. A marvelous bit of defense there by the Bombers.
And Kennedy lays down a picture-perfect sack bunt. He'll be retired 1-4. Hail to Lima. And Chris Walushka standing up tall on second base with 1 down.
You don't see a lot of well-executed sacrifice bunts anymore, but you just saw one there from Derek Kennedy.
Freddie Carmona, who was an integral part of the double play to end the last inning and lined the ball hard towards Donnie Hale last time around, steps in 0 for 2 with a runner in scoring position.
Hit the ball hard twice. Good RBI opportunity here for the Bombers to take their lead for the first time.
Drop ball outside from Donnie Scott in his second inning of work is a ball to Freddie Carmona.
See, and this is the difficulty, too, that the Forests face with Eric Urbanet in the bullpen, the lefty. It's a string of righties for the most part for the Bombers, and that's not the ideal situation of bringing in Eric Urbanet.
Donnie Scott is no slouch himself. A hard drop ball on the inside part of the plate fouled off of the catcher Bruno Matroni.
Yeah, Donnie came in and did a good job. The double by Scott Nehigh stranded with a couple of ground balls and a strikeout.
I mean, certainly, Blair, no secret to anyone around the game. Donnie Scott is in the twilight of his career, but he is still one of the best to ever toe the rubber.
He doesn't blow the ball by guys anymore, but he's become much more of a pitcher as opposed to just a thrower over the years, and will look to hit the spots, will use the drop ball a lot more than he ever used to.
1-1 is the count to the number 3 hitter, Freddie Carmona. He took a home run swing at that pitch, but the ball is in Bruno Matroni's glove.
Well, and Donnie can still hump it up from time to time, as you saw right there, but that was the good old-fashioned drop ball as opposed to the try and hit me rise ball.
One and two, one out. Chris Walushka is the runner at second base. He surveys the outfielders. Foul tip as Carmona tried to hold up on the swing. Walushka, as I mentioned, was looking over his shoulder just to see where everyone is set up. Not just the left fielder, Andy Skelton, but many left fielders on this diamond today have had a tough time. I don't know if it's something with the landscape out there.
Well, the outfield is still very slick. We had some rain the other night.
Carmona, who thought he might have been rung up, the umpire's going to call it a ball, 2-2.
And even with the multitude of sunshine that we've had here in Moline and the Quad Cities, that outfield, it seemingly takes a long time to dry around here because there's still some mud patches in between the diamonds.
Yes, and it's very almost, for lack of a better term, mushy out there. Hard drop just outside. Carmona's worked a full count. Carmona, speaking to the heat and humidity here, has gone over to get some stickum off the bench, off the rag that they had tacked to the front of the dugout. Here he comes, walking back with a purpose. Maybe he needed it, maybe he just needed a couple of seconds. Either way, 3-2 pitch coming up. And that is to third, and beating it out is Carmona.
Well, boy, you talk about a seeing eye single. That's not quite, but it just eluded Rob McGiffin coming across, Remeke in the hole, and they were not going to get Carmona at first. The ball bobbled over there by Donnie Hale, and that really, I think, is an infield hit.
That's got to be an infield hit. Carmona, for a catcher, can scamper down that line. He is definitely at the high end of the arc when it comes to speed from behind the plate. Marshall Cronk with one away steps in, runners on first and second. And another situation brewing here late in the game. We started off, as you mentioned, Blair, a lot of strikeouts, flyouts, not a lot of base runners, but in the last couple of half innings, it's gotten a little more interesting out there.
Well, Juan Podolicio seemed to have everything going his way in the first and the second. He gave up the solo shot to Gil Sens in the third, but still rebounded with a couple of strikeouts to get out of that inning. But the wheels wobbled in the fourth, and they got the tying runs aboard, but now Donnie Scott in a peck of trouble here in the fifth.
1-1 to Marshall Cronk. Chris Walushka's on second, Freddie Carmona's on first. Cronk is going to sky this one into short right. Going into foul territory to make the catch is Eric Ochoa. Walushka tags from second, and he himself took a hard round third.
Long run over there for Eric Ochoa to get that ball in foul territory. Then you've got to make sure you come up short of the fence and don't ricochet off of that. Did a good job to get the ball back into the infield and to hold Freddie Carmona to first base.
So now the man of the hour, Tyler Dudley, hit a monstrous two-run bomb to left center his last time up, and his confidence meter went from E to full. He was a little out in front of that as his body moved, but the drop ball Gets him for strike one. Dudley with a good swing, and it's straight back off the backstop. Actually fixed up our camera angle a little bit. Oh, and 2 the count to Dudley. 2 down, runners on first and third. Freddie Carmona is on first. Chris Walushka, who singled back to start the inning, has made his way around to the 3 bag. And Dudley lifts this one to right, but right at Eric Ochoa. So the threat is taken down, and we'll go to the 6th inning. Still tied at 3 here on the ISC Network, the Scarborough Force and the A1 Bombers.
At Cooper Tire, we make tires for people, not just cars. Our brand promise is that Cooper Tires perform on the road so drivers can perform everywhere those roads take them, because life is a journey. From the everyday motorist to the most demanding high-performance off-road and motorsports enthusiasts, we have tires for you. Cooper Tire is proudly based in Findlay, Ohio, and we have manufacturing, sales and distribution, technical and design operations within our family of companies in more than a dozen countries around the world. Visit us online at coopertire.com to learn more. Cooper Tire, proud of where we've been, confident in where we're going.
Grooves one for a strike. 1-1 to the leadoff batter in the 6th inning, Donnie Hale. He is 1 for 2 with a double here this evening.
Well, I know Donnie Hale has faced a lot of pitchers over the years. I don't know if he would have ever seen Jorge Segura.
Hard drop ball, and Hale came out of his shoes for that one. But it tied him up, 1-2.
Donnie Hale not on the New Zealand Black Sox squad that went to Saskatoon last summer. And they did play, New Zealand did play Guatemala in that round robin.
Drop ball on the inside corner. Donnie Hale gets rung up. And there's one away for the Scarborough Force in the 6th. We'll bring up Eric Ochoa, who is 0 for 2, a fly out and a line out for the right fielder, who is now 1 for 5 in the event. Drop ball off Carmona, squirts over to the on-deck circle, ball 1. Blair, this is a good time to remind everyone who's tuned in that in addition to the scheduled broadcast tomorrow evening, we will have a live stream from Diamond 5 all day without commentary, but we will still have the sounds of the park. So if you're at work or whatever you want to be doing, you want to watch a little bit more here on Diamond 5, there's some great games, starting with the BCAs and the Kegel Black Knights from Fargo, North Dakota, J&B Painting and the Toronto Batmen. The loser of this game plays the Kingston Axemen, and then Circle Tap against the Northeast Drillers as well.
Well, that game will move over to Diamond 6, because at 4 o'clock we'll be bringing you the ISC 2 championship game. That's going to feature the Shakespeare Falcons and a to-be-determined opponent. And then at 6 and 8, it is the winners bracket semifinals. At 6, the Toronto Gators and the New York Gremlins. And at 8 o'clock, Hill United will play the winner of this game if it's done by then.
A great one going. Top of the 5th inning, Eric Ochoa at the plate. A 2-2 count to Ochoa. And Donnie Hale led off the inning. He was rung up on strikes. Jorge Segura has taken over for Devin McCullough. He came on in the top of, this is the 6th inning, I apologize. I mentioned that this was the 5th. This is the top of the 6th inning.
Segura had come on in the 5th in relief of McCullough and came on with the bases loaded jam, but got that magical double play to get out of that inning.
Full count now to the second batter in the inning, Eric Ochoa. As Early has gotten late here on Diamond 5, and not a soul has left. Swing and a foul ball. Ochoa just staying alive.
Every at bat, every pitch becomes very magnified the longer you get into the game, and certainly a good opportunity here for Scarborough to try and get somebody aboard for Eric Urbanea. He would love to get off the schneid, a K looking and a K swinging for Urbanea, but he's got plenty of pop to take the ball out of the yard at any moment.
That is going to be outside, a one-out walk for Eric Ochoa.
And
that will bring Eric Urbanea to the plate.
I was just going to add that a walk at any time at this point is basically giving away a potential out. And now you bring Urbanea to the plate with a runner.
And as Blair mentioned, he is 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Jorge Segura on the mound for the A1 Bombers, the 4th and 5th ranked teams in the world, playing for a right to meet the number 1 ranked team tomorrow night, the Hill United Chiefs, who, Blair, have not been tested yet in this event.
No, they just seem to breeze by Circle Tap. They scored 5 in the first and really took away any doubt as to how that game was going to end up. Bradley Ezekiel, a first pitch of the game, home run right over the center field fence.
That's going to be outside to Urbanea, now a 2-0 count. So that's 4 straight balls thrown by Jorge Segura.
Well, I think if you're Eric Urbanea, unless this one is right down Broadway, you got to take this one too, do you not?
That's why he's out there and we aren't. But Blair, talking about that Hill United game. Runner goes, swing and a miss. Carmona loses the ball. It goes back to the backstop. So a stolen base on the swing and a miss. Ochoa, that was a hit and run.
Yeah, definitely a hit and run there. And we talked about the Scarborough Force being very aggressive on the bases and at the plate. And whether that's a call by Scott Searle or from the bench from Kelly McGiffin, I really like that aggressiveness.
Well, I just want to finish my thought what I was saying. It was unfortunate for the Circle Tap Dukes because Sebastian Gervasuti took a scorcher of a line drive off his knee and he wasn't unable to start. Joel Goodall was just a little bit out of his league out there tonight for the Circle Tap Dukes.
Well, and had to soak up all 10 of the runs that Circle Tap gave up in that affair. And you're right, I think they probably took the approach that if we can't use Siva today, we'll do what we can here and try to live to fight another day.
Urbanea swings through that, so Segura's battled back. 2-2 is the count.
Circle Tap's got a very good squad, and I would expect that they will rebound tomorrow. They've got they're going to have a tough game with the Drillers, but if Sebastian Gervasuti is able to go, I think we're going to see more of Circle Tap come Friday.
2-2, top of the 6th inning. Eric Ochoa is the runner at second, still tied at 3. Good looking pitch, but just low. Full count. Yeah, going back to that game, that early error on the ground ball to third base that Danny Dalton just kind of missed, really. I mean, there's no getting around it now. He redeemed himself later on. That's drilled back up the middle. Here's going to be a play at the plate, and the runner is safe. Ochoa slides in. Carmona is incredulous, saying he didn't touch the plate. But that's going to be an RBI base hit for Eric Urbanea, who is now officially off the schneid, Blair Setford.
Well, Eric Urbanea right back up the middle, and I mean, everybody at home had a great view of that play at the plate. You make the call yourselves. Did he get to the plate? Was he blocked out of it? Did he get the tag on him before he got to the plate? That is the question. Steve Gallagher is the only man with the answer, and he says safe.
And good on the center fielder, Chris Walushka, for even making that close. It looked to me like Ochoa was going to be home free off the single. Walushka came up gunning a perfect throw to Freddie Carmona, and Carmona thinks that he got him. But it doesn't matter what Freddie Carmona thinks. As Rob McGiffin steps in, looks like we've got a pinch runner out at second base.
So number 15 for the Force. No, that is still Ochoa, is it? Or who came out? 15 out, 9:35? Is that a 35?
There's a 39.
39, Brian Johnson.
So it's 4-3 for Scarborough. One ball is the count to Rob McGiffin. That was a nice looking pitch. McGiffin tops it, and it's going to be nothing but a foul ball. A couple of the people who are watching chimed in on your question, Blair. You said they all had a great view at the plate, and the votes are saying he was safe.
Well, Steve Gallagher, I'm sure, will be glad to hear that.
Well, he had the best view out of anybody. Of course, the catcher's always going to think he made the play. Time is called by Rob McGiffin. He's 0 for 2 with 2 Ks as well. So Scarborough have jumped out to the lead, reclaimed their lead that was once 3-0. Drop ball is a ball. 2-1 is the count, and Carmona and Segura are going to get together and figure out a plan of attack here for this next pitch.
But you can't be shaking off your game plan here. You've still got some outs to make, and you've still got two at-bats to go get what is right now only 1 run. And the A1 Bombers, you can't panic here in this situation because you've given up the go-ahead run.
And the bottom of the order has been good for the Bombers. Scott Nehigh is going to lead off in the bottom of the 6th inning. Check swing, flared out to right, and then Scott Nehigh makes the catch. The gun to third. The throw is a little off target. Tagging and advancing is the pinch runner, Brian Johnson.
Well, that's why Brian Johnson's out there. He's got a really good set of wheels. I thought that was a pretty good throw from Scott Nehigh, and Johnson just beat it from second.
So 0 for 3 goes Rob McGiffin.
But importantly, he does advance the runner there on that fly ball to right, because there have been a couple of wild pitchers / pass balls since Segura has come on.
Center fielder Justin Kurlicki is 0 for 1, reaching on an error and scoring on the Bruno Matroni double back in the 3rd. Self-defense swing there, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, it looked like Segura took something off, and Kurlicki, who's got some wheels, and I think he might have been trying to bunt his way aboard there, but just kind of waved over top.
You talked about the speed. The infield, even with 2 out, is drawn well in by the A1 Bombers, really respecting the speed of Kurlicki. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 down, and a runner on third in Brian Johnson, who is running for Eric Urbanea. Chopped out to short, on to first, no trouble for Gil Sands, the sure-handed shortstop. But the Scarborough Force will score a run on a RBI single by Eric Urbanea, and they will take a 4-3 lead to the bottom of the 6th inning.
The annual Boys of Summer Tournament is held every July at Circle Tap Bar and Grill in Denmark, Wisconsin. We host some of the top teams in the game at one of the best venues in softball. The atmosphere of old-time Fastpitch with all of the amenities of a full-service bar and grill on the grounds can't be beat. Reduced-rate hotels about 10 minutes from the park are available in Green Bay. To bring your team to the annual Boys of Summer Tournament next July, contact Dean Kane at ct16@greenbaynet.com. Thanks to Circle Tap for their support of the broadcast program.
Coming back, we'll give you a quick update on the ISC2 action. We already know the Shakespeare Falcons are into the championship game. Dolan and Murphy taking out Chetty's Pretty Boys with a mercy win, so Dolan and Murphy will advance to the losers bracket semifinal. They will play the winner of Wired and CPI. Those two teams tied 3-3. That game now headed in extra innings. Michael Legas-Root, Caleb Kishig are matched up in a good one. Kishig got 12 Ks already. Those two were midget teammates about 5-6 years ago for the Stratford Memorials back when they won the Junior Canadians, or at least played in the Junior Canadian final.
So leading off is Scott Nehigh. He is in an 0-2 count, and now he is in an argument with Steve Gallagher. Nehigh having a good game. He's got a walk and a double to his credit. Has also played very well defensively in right field for the Bombers. Not bad for a guy in his first World Tournament. This is a fly ball to center. Krulicki had a beat on it and made the catch in shallow left center, one down.
It just goes to show you the caliber of some of the athletes. That ball was a tailing fly ball away from Krulicki, and he just outran it.
So Mike Holdley, who's 0 for 2, a strikeout and a ground out, here in the bottom of the 6th inning with the Scarborough Force in the field and leading by 1. A drop ball inside part of the plate from Donnie Scott, who's in his 3rd inning of work, and notably Eric Urbanea is still throwing in the bullpen. Holdley with a swing and a miss now on the outside corner. Scott goes inside, outside, and now he can take his pick with an 0-2 count.
Oh, Nehigh was one of the very few lefties in the A1 Bombers lineup. Again, it would just be very tough, I think, to bring Urbanea in against this squad. You're almost playing into the A1 Bombers' strengths, but Eric Urbanea, of course, is the change-up artist, never throws 2 pitches the same speed, curves and spins, and just keeps the ball away. He'll occasionally bust you in with a rise ball, but very much a change-up artist.
Since entering the game, Donnie Scott has given up a double and 2 singles, but no runs. 2-2 is the count on the number 7 batter, Mike Holdley. Gets a changeup. Nice play at third base by McGiffin on to first to Donnie Hale, and there's 2 down.
Donnie Scott, the veteran, and he will just keep moving that ball around right now. Mingo Varela, who is going to step in, already has a ground out against Donnie. And the interesting thing, I think, with Donnie is he'd still love to be a power pitcher, but really has changed his game over the last couple of years.
Well, the biggest thing about Don Scott, I think, Blair, is whatever kind of pitcher he is, he's a gamer. And in a game like this, with the park full late into the night now, as it's 10 o'clock Central Time, Donnie Scott is the man who wants the ball out there on the mound.
Well, all the experience in the world. He's got world championship rings and a most valuable pitcher award under his belt. So none of this is new to Donnie Scott either.
He blows a rise ball past Mingo Varela, who is 0 for 2 on the night. And we've got people watching in Wellington, New Zealand, Blair. It's the middle of the day there. Foul straight back.
Middle of the day, but which day? Thursday, Friday, it might be next week. I think it's probably the middle of the day, Thursday, in Wellington, New Zealand.
So they already know who won the Wednesday night games then?
They might. Maybe they can give us the lottery numbers too.
0-2 is the count on Mingo Varela, the left fielder. A Hard drop ball from Donnie Scott. Varela swings through, and that'll do it. The 6th inning is in the books, and the Scarborough Force will look to add some insurance in the top of the 7th inning.
Free means different things to different people. Free is the laughter we share together. Free are the tears of joy on that special day. Free is the ability to express yourself. Free is the air dancing around your fingers. Free feels good, and so does saving. At First Ontario Credit Union, our members always get free checking, free ATM use, free debit, free deposits, free e-statements, and new members get a free gift. Visit freeisgood.ca and get money doing better for you at First Ontario Credit Union.
Murphy's Fish and Chips is not only a great place to get some of the best seafood in Canada, but is also one of the best fastball sponsors in the game. Voted Nova Scotia's best fish and chips by Eastlink TV, Murphy's is a family institution since 1996 and a proud fastball sponsor of many Canadian and ISC championship teams. Open 7 days a week. Come join us for our famous English-style fish and chips or any of our daily specials. Murphy's is located at 88 Esplanade in Truro, Nova Scotia. We thank Dave T. Anderson and Murphy's Fish and Chips for their commitment to fastball and the broadcast program.
Okay, back here for the top of the 7th inning and the top of the order for the Scarborough Force. And the fans in New Zealand are up watching this guy in Jerome Remeke. He has got a single, a walk, and a run scored tonight from the leadoff position, not to mention a stolen base.
Oh, he can do it all out there, Jerome Remeke. He's got to be the guy that's got to get things started here for the Force in the 7th. One run, you know, you're still in the bloop and the blast territory. You'd love to get that insurance run right here.
Eric Urbanea continues to warm. We'll see if he's brought in for the save or not. Inside pitch is a ball on Remeke. Jorge Segura on the mound for the A1 Bombers, who trail the Scarborough Force 4-3 in the top of the 7th inning here in the nightcap. The prize for winning this game is a date with Adam Folkert and the Hill United Chiefs tomorrow night. Ground ball deep in the hole at short is Gil Sands. No worries as he guns out Remeke.
Gil Sands has got a great arm. You saw it on display right there. He has made a couple of really nice plays tonight to get Justin Kralicki a couple of times and getting the speedy Jerome Remeke as well.
Well, that'll bring up the left fielder, Andy Skelton. Skelton is 0 for 2 with a walk and a base running blunder that took his team out of a potential big inning. High drop ball is a ball from Segura.
Also draws a bit of a look from Andy Skelton.
Skelton rounding third back in the 3rd inning, or the 5th inning rather, when things were shaping up for the Scarborough Force, and Freddie Carmona caught him. 1-1 the count to the big left fielder from Ontario. Perfect drop ball, but off the plate from Segura. Skelton 1 for 8 here in the World Tournament, and fouls one back to the screen, 2-2.
Well, that one was a long home run. That was on opening night, and it helped propel the Force to what was really, I thought, a much closer game, even than it sounded. 3-1, the Force were winners that night over the Bar of Appleton, but they trailed that game into about the 5th inning.
Swing and a miss on the drop ball off the plate. Skelton goes down on strikes for the 2nd time tonight. But that'll bring in Bruno Matroni, who is a home run away from the cycle as he steps into the box. A triple in the 1st, a double, a 2 RBI double in the 3rd, and a single in the 5th. 0-1 is the count from Segura to the catcher, Bruno Matroni. Ooh, very close to hitting him. Matroni just thrusts his hips back to get away from that ball.
Yeah, had to jackknife to get away from that one. Segura definitely wanting to establish the inside corner.
1-1, 2 down, top of the 7th inning. The Scarborough Force looking for some insurance. Chopper to short. Sands takes it on the 2-hopper. And Gil Sands, who's got a home run tonight, has played great defensively as well.
Putting on a clinic out there, and now the A1 Bombers are going to have to go get this game tied and try to extend it or even win it in the bottom of the 7th.
And speaking of Gil Sands, he will lead things off. 9-1-2 for the A1 Bombers when we return.
Whatever your delivery requirements are across North America, Skelton Truck Lines provides you with reliable, safe, and high-quality service at a fair price. Skelton Truck Lines equipment is satellite tracked and delivers small parcel, less than truckload, and expedited shipments throughout Canada and the U.S. With over 50 years of experience and more than 50 trucks serving 4 divisions, Skelton Truck Lines is a thriving Ontario business and a proud Fastball sponsor. Visit us online at skeltontruck.com. Thanks to Mike Skelton for supporting the broadcast program.
Kris Abbott and Blair Setford with you here from Green Valley Sports Complex in Moline, Illinois, the host of the World Tournament here in the ISC's 70th year. Four, 3, the Scarborough Force lead heading into the bottom of the 7th. Donnie Scott, who took over from starter Juan Podolicio back in the 4th inning, is back out there looking for the win.
A couple of defensive changes for Scarborough. Andy Skelton will go over to first base and replace Donnie Hale, and then moving out to left field.
Did Johnson stay in the game?
Johnson stayed in the game. It looks like he is in right field. And perhaps Ochoa, I think Ochoa has gone from right to left. Kralicki, I believe, is still in center.
All right, Gil Sands is at the plate for the A1 Bombers. He shows bunt and takes a strike on the outside part of the plate from Donnie Scott. Sands again shows bunt, again takes a drop ball outside, and he's now in a hole, 0-2. Sands is 1 for 2 with a home run. That came back in the 3rd inning to get the A1 Bombers on the board. 3rd straight pitch in the same location. This one fouled off the screen.
Outfield pretty much straight away. Maybe a step towards left by Kralicki in center, but that's about it.
I'd say Remeke also shaded well left on the left side of the infield. Well, that was just high on Sands, who isn't going to, or he may get asked to check his height on rides at Disney World. There it is again. Drop ball on the outside. Gil Sands goes down swinging. Back to the top for Chris Walushka, who singled in his last at-bat. 1 down for the A1 Bombers.
I think Donnie Scott would dearly love to have a 1-2-3 inning here and not have to face Freddie Carmona with anybody aboard.
Derek Kennedy on deck. Freddie Carmona hoping somebody gets on so he'll have a chance. Walushka's had some good at-bats, but he's 1 for 3. Check that, he is 2 for 4. Walushka with a single just under the outstretched glove of Jorge Lima.
Well, Walushka has got good wheels. If he can go for a run, Derek Kennedy, Freddie Carmona can get something into a gap. Walushka can easily score from first from there.
So we don't expect him to steal because you don't want to lose the chance to bring Carmona up.
No, but this is where the outfielders really do need to be careful. Zap. You got to make sure that you get to the ball and you get to it cleanly as an outfielder in this circumstance. We've seen a couple of games already this tournament where outfielders have had difficulty getting to a ball and games have ended.
So Derek Kennedy, a walk and a perfectly executed sacrifice bunt back in the 5th. Drop ball just inside, says the home plate umpire, Steve Gallagher. Kennedy, the third baseman. Takes a healthy swing. Drop ball for a strike. 1-1 with 1 out. The tying run, Chris Walushka, is on first with a 1-out single. Chopper to third base, McGiffin on to first. It's in the dirt, and Andy Skelton, who moved over this inning, pays immediate dividends for the Scarborough Force.
Well, your first baseman just bailed out your third baseman there as he one-hopped him, and it was a bit of a short hop. Andy Skelton able to dig that out, but move Chris Walushka up to second base, and now we'll just take a single, or should just take a single, and this game could be tied.
Well, you'd have to think here, Blair, that they'll be very careful with Carmona. A base open, however, of course, you don't want to put the winning run on. And, I mean, great protection for them in Marshall Cronk on deck.
But you got to go after Carmona here. You just can't give him anything too good. You got to nibble away at the corners, hope that he chases something.
Donnie was nibbling on the corner that time, but it looked like it had already been nibbled off inside.
Well, you saw Steve Gallagher just motion with his left hand inside.
Donnie's saying, don't squeeze me now. 1-0. Tying run on second. Freddie Carmona, who is one of the hottest hitters in the tournament, coming into this game. He's 1 for 3. And that one was an infield single. Time is called.
Well, this is where the legends are made in situations like this. Who's going to come up big? Is it the veteran, Donnie Scott? Is it not quite the new kid on the block, but maybe the new name on the block, Freddie Carmona?
You're absolutely right, Blair. Does Donnie Scott have one page left in that history book of his? Or is Freddie Carmona going to break the spine on his? One and one. High dipper, check swing. They're going to go down, and yes, emphatically, says first base umpire Kevin Wallace from Shipman, Illinois.
Well, the consensus here in the room was that he went around, and I tend to think that he did as well. Freddie Carmona, he's had two kind of half-hearted swings where he's tried to pull it back. You got to commit, and you got to go after it at this point.
Donnie Scott, 1 and 2 to Carmona. Chopper out to second base. Lima charges on to first. Skelton picks it up, and the Scarborough Force have a date with the Hill United Chiefs tomorrow night here in Moline.
Well, that's a really good ball game out there. The Scarborough Force tack on one late after squandering that 3-0 lead, and they have earned that opportunity to take on Hill United. They beat the Chiefs at the ASA tournament 2 weeks ago. They got it in them again. Can't wait to find out tomorrow night.
Your winning pitcher, Donnie Scott, the losing pitcher, Jorge Segura. The Scarborough Force will move on to play the Hill United Chiefs. The A1 Bombers drop down to play the Kingston Axemen. Well, that does it for us here at the ISC Network on day 5 of the 2016 World Tournament. On behalf of Blair Setford, Joe Todd, Lance Wynn, and the rest of our crew here in Moline, this concludes our broadcast day. I'm Kris Abbott. Good night.